Hello everybody and welcome to the Pretty Good Gaming Podcast episode number 110. Hello, our Croeso podcast, Tríomh Cant a Deg. My name is Mr. Gareth Evans. Joining me today is Mr. Henry. It's coming home, Cooper.
Is it though? Is it? I mean...
That's what the song says.
That's what the song says. And after last night's result, it was quite actually difficult to say that England is in... They're in the fall. I cannot physically say it, so I don't believe it's actually happening.
It's in the final. Are you excited, Henry, being an Englishman as you are?
Not really.
No.
I mean, I would
say. You'd be watching the final at all? Or?
I mean, I'll probably watch it, but I would say, I'll go to the pub and watch it. But no one's getting into any fucking pub. They're all going to be booked up already. But yeah, I'll try and get pissed, and maybe the football will be on in the background. But
wow, I can't believe you're so nonplussed. This is a historic moment for a proud footballing country. I give more of a fuck than you do.
Well, I don't really think football's that entertaining. It does nothing for me. I don't even hate football.
Enough already.
It's just
You've said enough already.
It's whatever, it is what it is. It's just another sport. Makes a lot of money. Cool. If people enjoy it, they enjoy it. Yeah, it's fun to play, but it's not fun to watch. It's really boring to watch.
Okay. I think that's enough said about that. But I'm guessing there's a whole lot of people listening to this podcast who are pretty excited by now.
And I am
Sunday,
happy for you. I hope
Henry's happy for us.
Is what you want, but I won't be upset if England lose, and I won't be leaping for joy if they win. It doesn't bother me.
Being a Welshman, I'm mixed feelings. I mean, I don't want to see them lose. I would like to see them win. I've been, following a lot of the players for my being a Man United supporter. I've been following a lot of the players for a while. I've been watching them behind the inside access on YouTube, the England YouTube channel. It's actually really good watching them behind the scenes, doing the training and stuff, getting to know the characters. Very entertaining, must hand it to them. And it's nice to see the players I'm familiar with succeeding. I would like to see them win. I as a Welshman, it sounds strange saying that, but I would like to see them win. And good luck to them on Sunday. This video gets published on Sunday, so Friday to the patrons, but Sunday to everyone else. So it's tonight if you're watching on YouTube. And they're going to need luck because they're playing Italy, who were my pick before. If you remember, for those of you who remember, I said before the tournament, Germany or Italy, but Italy was my main pick. And there they are in the final against England. We'll see what happens. Italy are a more attacking team, so it'd be interesting. Last night was a bit cagey with Denmark, but if Italy go on the attack, opens up space for England to do the counter, like they like to do, because they do sit defensively, do England. It's nicely poised for a decent game, I think, because Italy won't sit back and defend, although they're very good at it anyway. But that's it. That's my football chat out of the way. Jumping into, what have you been up to, Henry, this week? Other than avoiding the football at all costs, have you been up to anything?
I haven't even been avoiding it. If it's been on, I'll watch it. My girlfriend's a bit... she's been dipping her toes in a bit, so sometimes I love it. But I've done virtually fuck all this week. I've not really done anything. Scarlet Nexus has still been calling me back, but I just haven't got round to it. I've just been doing other things, and other things is nothing. I just feel like this past week has been kind of a dead zone for me. Everything's just kind of stopped.
Oh, well, there you have it then.
It's not very interesting at all. I'm
afraid. We just move on to
I could make up some anecdote. I could off the cuff say, I went to the shop. I bought a new game. It's called I don't fucking know. I bought a new Call of Duty. Was that what you want to hear? Is that what you people want to hear? That I bought
Henry plays Call of Duty Shock Horror.
And I bought the fucking season pass. Do they do a season pass anymore? I don't know. The battle pass, that's what it's called now. Yeah, and I won in my first game, and I was like, fuck this game's shit. And I returned it, and I got my money back. That was my weekend. How was yours? What did you do?
Cool story, bro.
Tell you what, Call of Duty does need more dragons, that's for sure.
Yeah. Bit of PSA. Next week I'm away, so there won't be a podcast next week. Podcast 111 will be delayed till a week after that. Just for those of you expecting your weekly dose of Pretty Good Gaming podcast, You're just going to have to wait on that one. And let's just jump into our running order for today. We've got talking about the hilarious new Switch upgraded in quotation marks. The upgraded Switch, which is coming in October, November, before Christmas, just so you can waste your money on it. We've spoken about some scary Tencent facial recognition shit that's going on down in China there. That's a bit of a story to discuss, get our teeth into. We've got a quiz of the week from Metalshark after that, followed by the Discord community comments, followed by triggered fanboy comment of the week, and then some other non-triggered YouTube comments on non-specifically triggered. There might be some triggered among them, we don't know. And then after that, the bad dad joke of the week to finish off. But first, Nintendo have pulled a blinder. They've announced the Switch Pro, although it's not a Switch Pro, is it, Henry?
Not really remotely. At the same time as being, why are they doing this? We were kind of expecting a Switch Pro proper. At the same time, this is sort of not at all surprising. It's kind of a very Nintendo move to just kind of have all these rumors and whatnot about something special coming, and then for in reality, for it just to be kind of, it's a bit shit, but not quite what we were hoping for anyway. So it's called the Switch OLED model, which is a fucking awful name, but at least you know exactly what it is. It's the one with the OLED screen. And virtually nothing else that's worth talking about. There's a few bits and bobs on it so it's a new Switch, but it's basically the same. That's all you need to know. You can skip to the next segment if you want. It just got a fancy screen. Anyway, on their Twitter account, they said, "Meet the newest entry to the Nintendo Switch family. Nintendo Switch OLED model brings the versatility of the Nintendo Switch experience with a vibrant 7-inch OLED screen, which is 0.8 inches bigger than the normal one. A wide adjustable stand, which, why wasn't that there in the first place? The stand on the current Switch model is dog shit and practically useless. And more." I'll give you a clue. The more isn't that much more. A Nintendo Switch OLED model releases on the 8th of October. Meet the newest entry to the Nintendo Switch family. Nintendo Switch OLED model I've copied that twice and I've just read it out again. I am well, there you go. You've had me double up because I'm stupid.
Well, that's literally what Nintendo have done. They've doubled up on the same bloody hardware, and they're selling it with a slightly snazzier screen. So if you say it in like a posher way, you might get away with it like fucking Nintendo do.
Exactly. So according to their website, there are a few differences. The main one being is the OLED screen. It's 7 inches compared to the base Switch, which is an LCD screen, at 6.2 inches. And it's also apparently a tad thicker. It's about 3 millimeters thicker. Has this new adjustable back stand that, again, it actually looks useful this time. I don't think anyone's actually used the other one to any real success. It does have a LAN port on the back of the dock, so you can have a hardwired internet connection, which is going to be easier for some people. 64 gigabytes of storage as opposed to 32 on the base model, and quote-unquote enhanced audio.
Enhanced audio?
It didn't explain any of that. Just on the picture, it looks like the audio, the speakers are now at the front along the bottom as opposed to at the back along the bottom. And that's it. That's the big, all singing, all dancing, new, upgraded Nintendo Switch console, the Switch OLED. No like CPU improvements, no performance enhancements of any kind. This is purely a marginal upgrade. We were kind of, Nintendo never said anything official about a potential Switch Pro. In fact, they said the opposite. But all the leaks and all the rumors and rumblings were suggesting that it was going to be, a half step, kind of like the PS4 Pro or the Xbox One X. The in-between generation jump. Not quite a full new system, but a little bit better than the previous one if you want that little extra bump. This is not a half step. In fact, it's barely even a quarter step, if I'm honest with you.
I mean, the thing that strikes me, sorry to interrupt, is that all of these improvements, they could have shipped with the original model. Mm-hmm. Like the kick flip stand at the back.
They're not
just
brand new
that
innovations.
from the Windows Surface Pro. Yeah, they've robbed that from the Windows Surface. The OLED screen, like OLED screens have been a thing for fucking years.
The PS
wired
Vita
LAN
has an
port should
OLED
have been a
screen.
fucking standard entry.
Yeah.
The 64 gigabytes of internal storage, that's not even a big amount of storage these days. That's just a moderate amount, and then enhanced audio. That doesn't mean anything. It's not. They're not telling us that the audio system's been made by a decent manufacturer or anything. It's just enhanced audio. It doesn't mean anything. It's a relative term. Oh, it's better than it used to be. Well, if it was shit beforehand, it doesn't mean fuck all. What we wanted was. I sound like I'm getting angry. I'm not really angry. It's just I think it's funny. But what we wanted is we wanted a better hardware so we can play games faster. So there wasn't all these dropped frames, and that the battery lasts longer. We wanted a better system, not a slightly fancier looking screen. This is ridiculous. They've just fixed one of the glaring omissions to begin with, which is the fucking shitty screen, and that's it. They think people are going to lap it up. I think this is going to be a flop. I don't think this isn't going to lead to additional sales like a Nintendo Switch Pro would. I'm not going to buy this. And a lot of people who would have bought a Nintendo Switch Pro would not buy this. That's the main problem here. I don't see how they're expanding their potential customer base with this. All they're doing is replacing the old shitty screen with a new sparkly screen, and they're not incentivizing anybody new to buy it. It's just like those who would have bought a Switch anyway would buy this version instead of the old version. This isn't a good decision. That's old school thinking.
This isn't for people who already own a Switch. It's not for people who want to upgrade. This is going to effectively replace the base one. They'll stop manufacturing those, stop selling those, and this will then become the default one. This is for people who maybe are just casuals. They don't care about video games, but they want a new system. This is the new one, and they can piggyback off that just ahead of Christmas time. Or people who have been thinking about getting a Switch for a while, they've got a bit of disposable income, although a reasonable amount. It's going to be $350 or about £310. So it's no small amount for such a marginal improvement. But yeah, the real kind of question mark is, who is this for? I wouldn't get it. You saying you wouldn't get it. I think most, especially because we already have Switches, most gamers probably aren't that impressed. But it's for the normies, the people who were maybe going to buy a Switch, but weren't
exactly. It's just not worth it's just not worth the upgrade. I think that's what we're looking for, because I love my Switch and I love being able to play on my own terms, right? If I'm going somewhere, if I'm doing something that I don't want to be at my PC, if I've got 20 minutes to kill, I love having the versatility of picking up my Switch and playing it. Having to fucking deal with the shit, which is those Joy-Cons and the drift. Every time I pick it up, it's like, what's the point? We need decent Joy-Cons. We need Joy-Cons we need a controller system that's big enough for my hands, that doesn't just let the whole system down, is what we need. So really looking forward to something that might appeal to me and make me think that, yes, it's worth the upgrade because it's going to be a better experience and it's going to enhance my love for the system already. And this is not it. This is a complete letdown as far as I'm concerned. And you're not incentivizing anybody to upgrade at all. Who gives a shit about a new screen when the Joy-Cons are just so bullshit?
Absolutely no mention of any upgrade to the Joy-Cons. They are exactly the same, although these ones are white. Not the whole Switch, just the Joy-Cons, and the dock itself is white this time, so that's going to really inspire you, even though the original had the color scheme of the red and blue, so at least it was striking. But anyway, just in case you don't know what OLED actually means, because I gave it a quick Google, because it's all these technical names. It stands for organic LED, light emitting diode. And the big difference between that and LCD is LCD, the pixels have to be illuminated from behind with a backlight on the screen, whereas OLED pixels emit their own light. So you might see words like self-emitting or self-emissive, something like that. And it basically means that it has a much wider range of colors and contrast, and is generally perceived to be better than the LCD, although they do have each have their pros and cons. But this isn't brand new, state-of-the-art tech. It's been around for a minute. Even the PS Vita had an OLED screen, which was even trending when this all was announced earlier this week. But just to compare the other models as well, the base Switch is 6.2 inches and is kind of decent enough across the board with an LCD screen. The Switch Lite is 5.5 inches, so it's slightly smaller and is the lower quality version, but it has an LCD screen as well. Then there is the Switch OLED, this brand new one, which is 7 inches. It's barely any bigger, and is supposedly the higher quality version with this OLED screen. But like we said, if you've already got a Switch, it's not an upgrade opportunity really, unless you're some collector. I don't know. This for people who don't already own it, people who are probably casual and just not that. If you were going to get a Switch by now, you probably already would have. But now this is to get those extra people on the hook. I don't know if it's going to work. 350 quid is a lot compared to the standard Switch model, which it's barely any different, and that's only a couple hundred quid. But one other little question I had is, should Nintendo have revealed this at E3? Because obviously E3 is very, very recent. It seems like the natural place to unload something like this. And I actually think this is a smarter move. A, because they're getting a bit of heat, but people don't hate it. It's just they're a bit disappointed. But B, it gives them room to get all the attention. Everyone's currently just talking about the Switch OLED, because that's why we talk about it as one of the lead stories of the podcast. It's a new hot thing. Whereas in E3 coverage, it would end up getting buried by all the other stuff, and it lets big games like Breath of the Wild or Metroid take the lead and have their moment in the sun rather than taking it away. So I think waiting just till after E3's died down to announce it is a good thing, but the announcement itself, it leaves a lot to be desired for the two of us at the very least. I'm sure many of you listening will agree.
Yeah. It's a letdown is what it is, really, because I guess expectation is it's the, what they say, killer of joy or whatever. But the fact that it is a bigger, like 0.8 of an inch bigger screen, but the footprint of the console itself is the same, so that's the same size, same Joy-Cons. The battery life apparently is the same. The charging time is apparently the same. The processor is the same, and the resolution on the screen is the same. So it's a 720p in handheld, and it's 1080p when docked. So that being said, same amount of pixels, but on a bigger screen, it's going to look more pixelated. It's that simple. It's going to look shitter, although it's going to be bigger. It's just going to be blown up. And the thing is, that's just.
A lot of people play solely in docked mode on a big screen, so the OLED's it's not even going to be used. Fortunately, I play a lot probably mostly in handheld. If I'm playing solo, if I'm playing like Smash Bros or something with my girlfriend, we'll play on a big screen. But you're only improving one part of the Switch, and the idea of the Switch is that it switches, and you've only done half of it. So it's really not an improvement as far as I'm concerned. Yeah. But people will probably buy it. Nintendo seem to have pretty bulletproof business strategy. They seem to always make money on whatever they do, even though I cannot fathom it.
They've had a few misses.
But significantly more hits, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. I mean, it remains to be seen. It's not for me. It's not for a lot of people. But they seem to have their fan base, and we'll see how it goes, I guess. That is, let us know in the comments if you're interested in getting it for that upgrade of being able to play it a little bit shinier and handheld, which it's not really appealing for the majority of us. But there we have it. Moving on to the scarier story this week, which I saw appear on Reddit, is that this concept of midnight patrol by Tencent, because parents suck and Chinese hate privacy, apparently. And this is Tencent. If you're not familiar with Tencent, my God, the biggest, one of the biggest tech companies in the world, in the top 10. I think it's rated the seventh biggest company in the world. Got its fingers in so many different pies. We'll get into that in a minute, but a lot of different things on the boil in terms of gaming. But specifically in China, from Tuesday, Tencent's rolled out a facial verification system to verify the age of gamers who are playing games online at night. It
sounds so like dystopian and like cyberpunk, like it's the plot of like a 2010 YA novel turned into a film, like your Hunger Games type thing. Like, it's so dirty and gross.
If you're too, basically it's going to scan your face, and if you're too young, it's going to say you're not allowed to play anymore past 8 p.m. The initiative's called Midnight Patrol. It's aimed at deterring minors from using tricks to pose as adults between 10 p.m. and 8 a.m. because playing games between 10 p.m. and 8 a.m. is not allowed in China, apparently, or not allowed by Tencent. And to justify this, they're saying, well, we're trying to look after you. We're trying to combat gaming addiction. China, apparently, some teenagers in China are stealing money from their to top up their accounts from their parents, and they're spending significant time at internet cafes. So we've got to protect these. Also, they've raised concerns over physical and mental well-being of young gamers, and experts have blamed the growing number of children with myopia, which is an eye condition, in the country on the increased screen time. So China have decided that in order to protect their young people, they've got to put these measures in place. And there's a quote here from Tencent. We will conduct a face screening for accounts registered with real names and that have played for a certain period of time at night. Anyone who refuses or fails the face verification will be treated as a minor and as outlined in the anti-addiction supervision of Tencent's game health system and kicked offline. So this is, you've got to think, I mean, China are notorious for stepping in and limiting the freedom of their...
That's what I was going to say. All of this is straight out of the authoritarian, totalitarian handbook. So it's for your own good we're going to lock you inside and take away all of your freedoms.
Yeah, exactly. It's essentially what it is. So Tencent will initially launch the facial screening feature for over 60 popular games, including Honor of Kings and Game for Peace. So it's mobile games specifically in China right now. So it doesn't really affect us right now, but Tencent are a big bloody company.
And they're making lots of moves by buying up stakes in big Western companies. They've got a huge, well, not huge, but like a decent stake in companies like Epic now, Activision Blizzard. They are everywhere, even if you don't know it.
I've got a list. So for those of you who don't know, they own Riot Games, League of Legends. They own all of Funcom, Conan Exiles. They've got 84% share in Supercell, which is Clash of Clans. They own 40% of Epic, which is Fortnite. 36% of Fat Shark, which is the Warhammer Vermintide, and the new one that's coming out, I don't remember. Don't Nod, they own 22 or 23% pretty much, which is Life is Strange Vampire, which I'm pretty fond of, and Twin Mirror, which is pretty decent. They've got 5% shares in Activision Blizzard, Ubisoft, Paradox Entertainment. They've got a 3.8% share in Remedy Entertainment. They've got a bunch of majority shares in a lot of companies I'm going to list off here. They've got a minority share in Bohemian Interactive. They've got a finger in the Discord pie. They own a little bit of Roblox and Platinum Games as well, which is documented. They haven't told us how much they own there. So they're basically this cancer, which is infecting the world of games. I mean, it's a decent analogy, so you can just picture what Tencent are. 7th biggest company in the world now, apparently, worth almost £1 trillion, like $700+ billion or something. I saw on an article from this year. They're fucking huge, and they're coming for you, and they're going to scan your face, and they're going to stop you from playing. Like, imagine a world where you had to verify that you're old enough, or to verify who you are before you can play a game, because they're just taking care of you. They're looking after you. This sounds fucking scary, doesn't it?
It's insane. Like I can scarcely believe it. Like I said, it's one of those where you think it's the plot of some, sci-fi dystopian novel or something like that. But even if we take away how creepy it is, facial recognition tech is pretty unreliable sometimes. What if you are, obeying the rules, obeying the Lord and Savior, what's his name, Xi Jinping? If you're following all of the rules, you're a grown adult and you can play whenever you like, and you just happen to look a bit young, and the scan doesn't then let you play your games. That's I think how we need to get gamers really annoyed. Because if it comes to your authoritarianism or anything like that, people don't really give a shit. They just want to play their games. But now if we say your face is going to be scanned, and it might not work most of the time because facial recognition's shit 9 times out of 10. That's gonna get people on board. Be like, what the fuck is this? We can't be dealing with this. Fuck China. Well, fuck Tencent, which is isn't Tencent CCP owned? I can't remember. I think it is. I think they are. They have close ties with the actual government of China.
I couldn't comment on that. I don't know enough about them. But it is scary, that's for sure. So Chen, I've got somebody here from the article that I read. Chen Lina is an accounting executive in the eastern Jiangsu province from China. And they said facial recognition could be a major feature in rooting out gaming addiction. She said her 7-year-old child is a fan of Tencent's popular game Honor of Kings and allows him to play for about 30 minutes once or twice a week using her account. Chen added that she can imagine him playing for longer in the future. Her quote is, "Facial recognition is a welcome sign because real name verifications cannot keep kids out of the games." Like, how about doing some fucking parenting? How about looking after your own kid? How about setting up restrictions? How about educating your kids about gaming? How about giving them a little bit of freedom to make mistakes and then reining them in when they do make those mistakes? Teaching them how to self-regulate. That is what a decent human being could do. And that's, if you want to grow your child up to think for themselves, then you instill them with a sense of what's right and what's wrong, allow them to make mistakes, and then step them back once they've made a mistake, and keep that consistent. This just sounds like mind control. This just sounds like, it's just horrible. Am I crazy?
No, I'm totally on the same board, same page. Like, it's incredibly Orwellian, and it's one of those where if you heard this story without us saying it was China, you'd know it was China straight away. Yeah. It's exactly the kind of thing their bonkers government likes to do all the time. But maybe they're watching. Maybe we need to keep it on the DL.
They are watching.
Does Tencent have stake in YouTube?
Fucked. We're all fucked. We're all fucked, mate. As soon as Tencent take over, mate, we're all fucked. China's taken over, and that's it. It's 1984 is what it is. I've got a couple of the top Reddit responses. So Emilius Returns is the top comment on Reddit. That's fucking creepy. I refuse to use any facial recognition software because of crap like this. I trust neither my government nor tech companies with that information. No way it doesn't get abused to hell. It's a strong narrative at the moment. China using your information against you. Emilius, that's what they think is happening here. Another one to kind of balance it out. Gallifreyan Pleb comments, this is pretty interesting from an anthropological/social science perspective because this is Tencent trying to do good, as in preventing an unhealthy behavior in minors, with the current Chinese value system. But to Western values, the means used and the control of private behavior by either government or businesses is unacceptable regardless of the objective. I mean, they say it's interesting. I guess it is interesting. There's no judgment there. It's just like a black and white. This is interesting because it's contrary to our values here in the West. Well, fucking right it is.
But even then, it's not necessarily Tencent trying to do good. It's Tencent saying they're trying to do good. All of these companies, Western or Eastern or anywhere, they have ulterior motives, and 9 times out of 10, that motive is to make money. Sometimes the motive is to exploit you in other ways, but most of the goal is to get the money first. So they don't actually give a shit about monitoring kids playing games late at night. They don't care about that. They care about finding a way to monetize everything they can possibly do. And you, as a human being, are a great commodity ripe for the taking. You're basically a slave. You're just not in shackles yet. So if they scan your face, it's one step closer to them owning you and everything about you. If you're a gamer, you've probably already, in one way or another, accidentally signed up for something where Tencent's got your information. All of those companies we listed, if you've played any games by them or by those publishers, whatever, Tencent's got at least some of your information already. There's a reason they're so big, and that's why they're so dangerous.
Yeah, you got to think about the role of the Chinese government in this as well, because increasingly, I think the narrative over there is that gaming is corrupting our youth and all this sort of nonsense, and they're taking measures in the past to try and quell that. So I think this is Tencent either preempting the Chinese regulation or just abiding by what the Chinese authorities are saying they need to do. As well as the added bonus of getting to know all the private information and scan everybody's face, so they've got them on file for when they take over the fucking world. So you have it. That is the scariest motherfucking story this week. Let's move on. That's it for our prepared segments. Let's move on to the Metalshark quiz of the week this week. And this one is for me. So, Henry, would you like to take it away?
Right, I can do that. Let me just open up the quiz. Okay. Quiz for Gaz this week, and in honour of the Nintendo Switch's OLED edition, with the decision to use the same Joy-Cons, our topic of choice is defective video game peripherals. Ooh, this is a good one. For each of the following devices, you have to guess one of its flaws. I'll call out a couple to image search, but you're welcome to image search any of the others. Okay. Are you ready to determine what the flaw is and which ones are broken? Question 1. Roll and Rocker for the NES, a balance board for controlling D-pad movement where you stand on it with both feet and lean in the direction desired. So you've got to tell me what its flaw is.
What its flaws? Roll and Rocker for the NES, a balance board for controlling D-pad movement where you stand on it with both feet and lean. Its flaw is that you'd fall over. There's no way to balance. I don't know. Am I allowed to Google the look of these? Did he say?
Yeah, I reckon you can Google it. It's the Roll and Rocker for the NES.
Roll and Rocker for the image.
In the answers, you have 3 potential options. So it's a bit of a clue there.
Oh, the defect of this is that it's made of plastic and it gets crushed easy. It breaks easy.
You know what? I'm going to give it to you. Option A is it couldn't support over 100 pounds of weight. And 100 pounds really ain't that much. And the other flaws it has is you couldn't press any buttons like A or B without the controller also plugged in, so it's basically pointless. And C is directional input didn't work on any title properly, and Metalshark puts like controller drift. The movement was off. Okay, so that's 1 out of 1.
Okay, let's just put that in perspective. We work in kilograms or stones in our country, so 100 pounds is 45 kilograms. I couldn't stand on that fucker. I'm 76 kilograms is what I am.
Yeah, and
if you work in stones, 7 stone 1 is 100 pounds. 7 stone. You couldn't. Only the smallest children could play this thing.
It's ridiculous.
I think you got that one right.
Yeah, you absolutely did. Okay, number 2. ROB, the robot for the NES, an actual robot which would move objects in real life to progress gameplay. I know nothing about ROB other than his role in Smash Bros. So again, you've got 3
robot
options.
which would move objects in real life. Move objects in real life. What was the defect with him? He couldn't pick up. He couldn't pick up. It was limited to the weight that he could pick up because it's just so flimsy. Because he's got little plasticky arms.
That does seem like an obvious flaw, but apparently that's not among the list. So you've got option A is only 2 games ever supported it. So that's a pretty big flaw. You can't play it with anything. The robot took so long, it was easier to press the buttons yourself. So apparently it could lift it, it just took a bit of time. And it required seeing flashes from the TV, which often didn't work. Also, you can imagine what sudden flashes caused. Yeah, so that's a whole separate problem. Alright, so it's 1 out of 2 so far. Next one is Voice Recognition Unit, VRU, for the N64. And there are 2 options for this one.
Okay, the voice recognition for the N64. I think the wire wasn't long enough. Looking at the image, the wire looks like 8 inches long or something. I think voice recognition system, you have to have it close to you. So I think the wire, that's definitely a Nintendo thing to do is not have a fucking wire long enough.
That sounds totally reasonable, but unfortunately it's not one of your potential answers. Option A is only 2 games ever supported it. Again, Nintendo just don't seem to do that and learn little fun gimmicks properly at all. And B is only recognized children with high-pitched voices, which is a big fucking problem for a voice-based thing.
That is so bad. So bad. Kids. Right, I've got to think it only works for kids. Yeah, that's going to be an answer for the next few.
Okay, the next one. The Power Glove for the NES, a motion-controlled glove. I don't think anyone really played anything with this. It's mainly just iconic for being your most 80s thing ever. So you have one option for this one.
The Power Glove, that it only worked with a limited amount of games, like one game. Either that. Yeah, I'm going to go with that.
You sure? You seem like you've got other things in mind.
I don't fucking know. I'm guessing.
Unfortunately, that is wrong. The motion sensor didn't sense properly and left you exhausted yet barely able to control the game.
It's definitely a Nintendo thing, isn't it? It's like, it reminds me of playing, what was that game? That launch game on the Wii, Nintendo Wii, with the fucking sword. And you thought that it was going to match one for one, and like on the adverts, it looked like it was going to fucking tear them up.
It's like a samurai game, isn't it?
Yeah. And then it just turns out you just had to fucking swing it like crazy just to try and get something to register. Yeah, that's fucking Nintendo for you.
Nintendo all over. Right, so far you do only have one right.
We're not keeping score here, Henry. We're just having fun, lad. We're just having fun.
Speak for yourself. I'm having a lot of fun. I'm learning a lot. The Atari MindLink, a brainwave reader for hands-free control. I mean, you can't fault their ambition.
Wow. I didn't even know this fucking worked.
I mean, clearly it didn't, because we haven't had another one.
Atari game systems. Placed around the forehead, you then think the movement of the objects on screen works on EMG technology, measures muscle activity. What was the flaw with the MindLink was that it didn't work, and it gave you a headache because you had to try and think things, and it never registered any of your thoughts.
I'm going to give it to you, but you did half read part of the answer. So the answer is it read muscles rather than brainwaves, which you just read. So it became easy to move your eyebrows to control it, so the device never got released as testers got headaches from all the forehead muscle movement.
Headaches.
Imagine people like
just
doing this just constantly trying to get to it. There is also one more flaw, and since it says it never actually got released, all 3 games designed to work with it were cancelled before it even released. So the brainwave machine never came out. All right, so that
I did say it gave people headaches.
You did. That's absolutely fair. That's absolutely. So that's 2 out of 5. There's time to get a respectable score yet. Okay, the Sega Activator for the Mega Drive or the Genesis, an infrared sensing octagon. You stand in the middle of which senses when your part. Wait, you stand in the middle of which senses when part of your body goes over it.
Okay.
So I've read that quite poorly, but it's an infrared sensor.
Yes. So it's a octagonal thing that goes on the floor that you stand in, and there's arrows in each direction. So if you like kick one way, it'll sense that you're doing a karate kick one way kind of thing. If you're playing Street Fighter or something.
Yeah, in theory.
That's from the images I'm seeing here. What was the flaw with it? I'm guessing that it broke when you stood on it, or
I'm gonna have to press you for an answer.
Looking at an advert for it there. It wouldn't censor it wouldn't register your movements. It didn't register your movements properly. And it made you tired as fuck. It made you tired as fuck from kicking the air, and it gave you like repetitive strain injury.
I'm just going to give it to you because that answer was painful and took you ages to get out, and you're not doing very well. So you're having answer B completely inaccurate and picked up the wrong movement in a roundabout way. That's correct. But the other answers are any ceiling decorations like lights or fans stopped it working, and the other one is it cost an absolute fortune.
Wow.
Right, so we're saying you have 3 out of 6.
3 out of 6. That's what we're saying. We're happy with
my
that.
word is law. The Atari 5200, I guess that's how you say it, you pronounce it, because no one says the Atari 5200 controller with analog Atari-style joystick with many buttons.
What was the flaw with it? I don't know. It was difficult to hold because of the shape of it. It was a bad form factor.
That is not one of the acceptable answers. A is the joystick didn't self-center, and B is the buttons were too soft and got stuck down.
Ah.
Okay.
That sounds like a
Number
problem.
8. You are still only on 3. Konami Laser Scope. More than any other product have a quick image search. Okay, so definitely check this one out. Head strap eye scope. I'm definitely going to have a look at this one as well. The Konami Laser Scope, everybody.
This is brilliant. How do I not know these things existed?
Oh, good God.
Living a sheltered life. Proper 80s type of sci-fi movie stuff, isn't it?
It's disgusting. It's so ugly.
It's
great. It's made out of that horrific white plastic that you can, when it goes all yellow.
Yeah.
What's the problem? What's the problem?
The problem with it is I'm guessing it sensed your eye movements. It just didn't register your eye movements properly. It just didn't work. Didn't register your eye movements. Guess. That
is not one of the options. You've got A, you had to yell shoot to fire every bullet. It picked up background noise as a command to fire. And it was marketed as being compatible with Walkman, so parents didn't need to get their kids another set of headphones. Apparently nothing to do with eye tracking. I guess you just look through it rather than it picking up what you're looking at.
Laser scope.
You're still only on 3. This has been a very, very tricky
it's like pulling teeth, isn't it?
Okay, the Sega Mega Drive, once again, is the Genesis. Action Chair, a movable chair with hand controls. Another classic look at the image of, right? When Metalshark's saying look at it, it must look ridiculous.
It does look ridiculous. How can you games in
Mega Drive Action Chair? Wow.
So you just sat there with like 2 joysticks either side.
Wow. That looks like a prototype. No way did they actually release something like this to the public. That's ridiculous.
It does look stupid. I'm going to say that the problem with that is it broke if you had to. I'm guessing when you're leaning, it broke, or you fell over, or it toppled, because you're using your whole weight of your body. So that's got to affect something, right? It's got to break something.
Well, one of the first answers is a chair broke off the sensor reading the directions, so you're having a point for that. And then the other option is it's similar, but it's not exactly the same. Many games involve leaning consistently in one direction for prolonged periods of time, so presumably that, moving in that direction would break it and just generally be uncomfortable. Okay, 4 out of 9. Last chance.
50-50, forget this, yeah.
This is 10. We are looking at the PlayStation 2 Katana controller. What's the problem with the Katana controller?
The Katana controller, the problem with it...
actually looks
I don't know.
All right. Like, out of all of the others, I mean, it looks kind of nifty.
Maybe you smashed stuff with it. Because it looks like something that you swing around in your front room. So if you're destroying your furniture and stuff while you're playing, that would be a problem. Well, there's buttons on the handle of it, so you don't swing it around. It's just like you're playing with it as you're holding it like this. Like That doesn't feel like a very comfortable playing position. I don't even know how this is used, so yeah, I've gotten really no ideas.
I think you're so close. You were so close with the buttons thing.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a katana-shaped controller, but so how the fuck can you play a game like this? How do you play a game like that? I don't fucking know.
You're getting a point for that. You're getting a point for that.
Yeah.
Option A is buttons were awkward to press, and yeah, it does look. I mean, the buttons are like on the. Is that the handle, and is the blade up there? Like it's hard to even explain. I said it looked nifty, but it does look clunky as hell. Right, so there's a point for that. The other options are motion controls often wouldn't register or continually drift, and the final one, even when the motion did register, instead of being able to swing your sword in different directions in game with the controller, this device always swung the sword the same way in game.
Oh, that would so fucking do my head in. But yeah, it's supposed to be something that you'd like fight with, and then control your character with the buttons on the shaft of it. That's obviously a flawed idea. That from the fucking inception, from its conception.
Foolish.
Yeah,
you did all right.
Unlucky games industry. I got 5.
Yeah, you came back. 5. You had a bit of a rough start, but then you got into the rhythm a bit.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And as always, Metalshark, we thank you for the effort that goes into those quizzes. As much as I butchered that one, I really enjoyed it. It was good checking out some of them failures, let's say, from the games industry, which I would never have known about otherwise. So I appreciate that, dude. And let's move on to the Discord questions. We've got two askers or 2 questioners this week. Future Proof is the first one. He's left 9 questions though, so quite a feast here. First up, I don't know what I've done there. Getting to know you, part 6. So Henry, what's your least favourite fruit?
I like all fruits. Even as a kid, I was a pretty like fussy eater, but fruit has always been a way to get me to eat. Like I've always just really enjoyed fruit, and if I had to pick the worst one, I don't know.
Like pineapple? Are you a pineapple fan?
Pineapple's great. Just keep it off a pizza.
Yeah,
them's the rules. I mean, does anyone have a least favorite fruit? Do you have fruit that? I mean, I guess some people must.
Do you like kiwi? Some people don't like kiwi.
Kiwis are great. Some people are funny about the texture because they're furry, but they're only furry on the outside. You're not meant to eat the skin, although some mad people do.
A pear? Some people don't like pears.
Pears are shit apples, but I wouldn't say them at least. I'll tell you what, I'll give you a raisin. I think raisins are my least favourite fruit because they're just such a shit version of grapes. Grapes are one of my favourite, and then you just ruin it by making it a raisin. So
raisins are alright.
They're all right, but they're no grapes, are they? Why ruin the perfectly good grape?
Because that's a quote for you. Grapes are raisins are right, but they're no grapes, are they? Okay, there you go. There's a raisin. Number 2, most hated food /meal/mix of foods. What's the food or meal or mix of foods that you hate the most, Henry?
And again, I used to be a real fussy kid, but I'm not really anymore. I can eat most things, but probably the most consistent thing I just don't like, and it annoys me because they're so good for you, is eggs. I just don't like eggs. Any kind of eggs.
Wow.
Fried eggs in particular. I can handle scrambled eggs. That's fine, especially with a lot of like pepper and stuff on top. But
eggs, man.
Fried eggs in
eggs.
particular. It's the texture of fried eggs that just makes me want to be sick.
Yeah, I can understand that.
But they're so good for you. It's so frustrating.
One of my most dreaded fruits as a kid, I used to hate swede on my Sunday lunch. Swede and carrots.
Carrots are the best vegetable.
The one that takes the biscuit is chicken supreme. If you've ever had chicken supreme, it's like a slop of white kind of broth with like chicken pieces in it and mushrooms. And we used to have it in primary school, and I fucking hated it. And the missus said she went to the cafe just down the road the other day, and she had a chicken supreme. And I was like, chicken supreme? That's disgusting. I was appalled with her.
It sounds
and that
just like
and that just reminded me, Chicken Supreme, man. I've never had Chicken Supreme.
Well, that sounds like just a pretty generic chicken and mushroom soup. So maybe it's not that's the problem. Maybe it's your schoolhood memory that traumatized you to what it was.
Yeah, mushroom Chicken Supreme. That's like a sloppy kind of Chicken Supreme, man. Just get it away from me. That's my answer. Okay, next one. This one's for you, Henry. Favorite superhero?
I mean, it's a pretty common answer. It's a pretty easy answer, but it's Batman, isn't it? Batman's cool. He's got everything you need. He's got a complex psyche. He's got all the best villains. He's got cool gadgets. There are 3 different people in this one head. There's Batman, then there's Bruce Wayne to the public, and then there's the lonely man sitting in his cave with his butler. He's great. Batman rocks.
I don't think I've got a favourite one. I guess Iron Man, because I just like... Let me just check I've got these right. Yeah, just because of the tech, really. I just like the tech. Iron Man, I guess. I'm going to go with Iron Man. I'm not a big superhero person. You might have guessed. Right, Henry. Shittiest modern superhero. What's your shittiest modern superhero?
I mean, I'm not a big comic reader because I can never keep up with all the different stuff. So I'll like pick up like compendiums and compilations well after the fact. Like I only just read House of M. But I'd probably instinctively say someone like the new Ms. Marvel, the stretchy one, Kamala Khan. She's actually got quite a lot of heart in the Avengers game, but I think she's just the fucking got Reed Richards power. And Reed Richards is this dumb fucking power, but he's interesting because he's a total genius. And I think part of it with her is it seems like Marvel's really trying to make her happen when there's so many other interesting, like young generation characters. Like I don't know enough about her, so it's kind of harsh of me to say, but she's probably someone I see and I'm like, what? Your power? It's not cool. Your power's stretchy and you make yourself big. You look weird. All right.
I don't know whether these are my shittiest or my favourite. I might have to change my answer, but those modern Marvel ones like Snowflake and Safe Space, and then B Negative and Trailblazer.
Oh, that's such a better answer.
Those 4 gems. I don't know whether they're my favourite.
Did they ever
Screen Time?
Did they ever
Screen
release?
Time.
Did they ever even come out? Because everyone hated it.
Don't know, don't care, but it's funny. If you don't, that thing is
I forgot
Snowflake
about
and Safe
these
Space.
guys.
Like, this is real. This isn't even taking a piss. This was a real fucking thing.
It's an embarrassment.
Superhero called Safe Space and Snowflake. Oh, jeez Louise. They were twins, Snowflake and Safe Space. So they're equally my shittiest and my favourite at the same time. There you go. All right. Coolest playable character in gaming?
No question, it's Dante from Devil May Cry. Zero doubt in my mind. He's the coolest. And I won't argue it. It's a fact. He's a monolith, and he is the coolest.
Yeah, I like John Marston.
I mean, it's pretty cool, but he ain't Dante.
It's just Dante's too new school for me.
John Marston's a newer character than Dante. Dante kicked off in 2005.
But how old is he?
I mean, he's sort of a vague age.
I mean, I just like the older, gruffer, kind of mature cool. Man. Yeah, don't take that from me, Henry. I want John. So that's my favourite. Or coolest. Most fun weapon or type of attack in gaming?
I mean, if a video game if it's a shooter and you don't have a good shotgun, it's a bad shooter. So, I mean, that's a pretty like standard across the board answer. But the gravity hammer in Halo is never not incredibly fun to use, especially when you're like playing custom games or something with a friend and you're just chasing each other with these hammers. Because even if you don't hit, if you hit the floor, there's the shockwave and it sends you flying. That's a great Halo in general. Actually, is just a great great series of weapons.
That what's that multi-gun thing in Control? That's got to be pretty cool, right?
Oh yeah, I think they just call it the service weapon or something like that.
Service weapon. But I like the portal gun. I just love the idea of the portal gun. The portal gun, that'd be fucking awesome in real life. I would love that. Just be able to just fucking go wherever you want, as long as you made a portal, obviously. So there you have it. Question 7. TV show / movie you'd most like to turn into a video game. I feel like this question gets asked at least 3 times a year.
Yeah, man. And I'm pretty sure I've said the same answer before. I'd love to see them do Inception. There was talk of them doing it around the time of the movie, but it never happened. Inception seems ripe for a video game adaptation because you can do so many more visually creative things than you can in films, and that could factor into the gameplay in really exciting ways. But I would imagine it's really difficult. That's probably why it never happened, especially to make it some like a good game, not just some like popcorn, mass appeal, mass market thing, like a proper exploration of the dream world and all that.
Yeah. My answer, obviously, for those you know, is Game of Thrones. They just need a decent Game of Thrones game, which they haven't done yet. So make a decent Game of Thrones game, please. Question 8. Very first video game you played in your life that made you realize gaming is fun / cool.
Oh, how am I supposed to remember that, man?
If you can't remember, you're only 26, man. I've got to remember an extra 14 years.
Yeah, I mean,
how am I supposed to fucking remember?
Honestly, I think since having COVID, my memory has been shot to shit. I had it, back in Christmas, in case you didn't know. And my memory's just gone. I forget sentences halfway through saying them way more than I ever used to, at least.
Yeah.
I don't know what my first game would be. Probably something like small scale, like Pokemon Red on a Game Boy, something like that.
Yeah, I wouldn't say
it made me realize gaming is fun and cool. I just sort of did it. I didn't even complete it for years. I just screwed around, just trying to fight Pokemon. I didn't care about anything else.
One of my strongest memories and one of my most devoted games as a kid in my formative gaming years was The Secret of Monkey Islands, point and click adventure by LucasArts with Guybrush Threepwood. Absolute classic. I would say that that's one game there where I'd go to school and my mate was like, "Oh, have you gotten past the bit where you've got to get the rubber chicken from the voodoo woman, and then use that as a thing to to traverse the swing rope thing." And I was like, "Oh, is that how you do it?" And it's like that was, yeah. It was great. Back in the day where you didn't have like any internet solvers or whatever to figure out how to do stuff. You literally had to sweat and just try everything to try and progress the game, or ask your mates in school because they've done it.
On a similar note, actually, a better answer for not the first game I played, but the one that made me realize gaming is like fun and cool, to use the wording of the question, will probably be Metal Gear Solid. So I played that for a bit, like early on with my brother had it, and then I ended up like buying it myself a few years later, and I played it properly, and I was like, this is revolutionary, and it's on the PS1. I think by then we're on to the PS2. How's no one topped this yet? And I hadn't realized that the other sequels of Metal Gear had started coming out. But yeah, that blew my mind. If I can even say it, it blew my mind that bad. Like you've got to contact someone on your radio. And the tip you get given is look on the back of the CD case, and you're like, right, where's the CD case? I'm looking through my inventory, there's nothing there. Looking through the environment, there's no CD cases anywhere. And then my stepbrother, who was with me when I was playing it, literally took the real case, the box the game came in, turned it over, and the number of the girl you need to contact is on there, which is insane. Attention to detail and game design. No one could ever do anything like that anymore because no one buys physical games apart from like 11 people, myself included.
That's true.
But that's, Metal Gear for sure. Snake's also up there for the coolest video game character. He's up there.
Good shout. The last one now from this list is the latest truly great video game you've played that made you feel awed by the possibilities in gaming, or just that the game itself was awesome. So it has to be a truly great video game that you were awed by the possibilities.
That's a tough one.
Big shoes to fill, that, isn't it?
I mean, lots of games do little truly great things, if that makes sense. Like playing Control recently on PC with ray tracing. That awed me in the sense of that this is a system seller for the ray tracing gimmick, or that I'm guessing a ray tracing capable graphics card or whatever. But then a game like Red Dead Redemption 2, for all of its numerous gameplay faults and controller issues and pretty poor mission design, the scale of that world and the storytelling in it is outstanding. So that's like primetime TV show quality over like such a long period of time, watching the gang and watching them change, and then going back to the beginning and starting it again and seeing the little nuances of like Dutch's mind starting to slip away.
Right. I mean, I guess Divinity Original Sin 2 would be my answer for this, because that game is just full of interesting characters and stories and world building. It's just that the whole thing is full of possibilities in game itself. But in terms of gaming, I like games that allow you to tell your own story, that aren't written by the dev team. So something like Crusader Kings 3, where you literally craft your own dynasty in that, and you tell your own stories and you weave your own narrative. And I like the possibility of simulation games where they just give you the tools and they just in a sandpit and they just throw them down and say, have fun, and then you pick up whatever you want from the sandbox and just play in whatever way you want, and you make your own fun, given all the systems and how they work well and integrate themselves with one another. And that's what I'm excited about the most in terms of gaming development is that possibility where you have a fun game based on your interests and how how you approach the game, and it might be completely different to the next player because of how well the systems work together in the game. So those are two of my answers, I guess. And that concludes the Getting to Know You Part 6 by Futureproof. Thank you very much for all those questions, sir. And let's move on to the final one this week, because we only had a couple of questioners. And do you want to take that away, Henry?
Let's have it. This is Tons. Time for a hypothetical. Would you rather play Doom, but instead of Doom Guy, it's Link from Zelda, with sword, shield, bombs, and bow, or in the same style as a reimagined Hexen, and you play as Harry Potter and you only have spells? Now, I need a reminder of what Hexen is, because I can't remember. But, I mean, if you say Doom, but with Link, that sounds pretty cool already. I think, give me a game as insanely violent as Doom, and then pairing that with Zelda's quite friendly, fairy tale-like aesthetic, I think would be hilarious. Watching Ganondorf show up and just brutalizing that motherfucker, just laying into him, I think that'd be so fun.
There you have it. I don't think I haven't played Doom. I'm not familiar with Hexen. Not a huge fan of Link or Harry Potter. So I'm
none
not
of those
best
elements
place
for you. Hexen is basically Wizard's Doom. It's like first-person shooter, but with spells, and it's an old school FPS.
Cool. And that concludes our question section of the podcast. Let's move on to the next segment, which is the Triggered Fanboy Comment of the Week.
So this one, he's not like massively like triggered, super angry, but he's like unnecessarily protective over something we said very like minorly. So it's in last week's podcast extract about the gamer who paid an e-girl $22,000 and then tried to sue her to get it back when she wouldn't go on a date with him after he pestered her a million times. The game he was playing that he got her to play with him was League of Legends. And very early on, I made a joke about, why at least play a good game, not League of Legends. And then I made I'll have a comment later on.
Just a flipping comment, yeah.
Yeah, a throwaway thing. People have opinions. This is the internet. I'm sure you may or may not be aware that there are opinions in the world. This person, George Chamberlain, is pretty... He's a bit prickly about it. He says, "You really done?" presumably means don't. You really don't like League of Legends, huh? The snobbery you show for that game is actually quite sad. The snobbery we show. We mentioned it once or twice in one fucking video. If it had been, like a long campaign of us hating League of Legends. A lot of people do hate League of Legends, so perhaps that's why he feels so defensive. Perhaps he's been on a bit of a run of seeing people slamming the game he likes, and that's fair enough. But I wouldn't say disliking a game isn't snobbery. I'm not looking down on it. Why are you playing League of... It's a joke. It's it's a flippant throwaway comment.
Flippant comment.
Yeah. And then someone comes back. Sit Nomin Digna, who just says, what? And he got 1 like. And this other person didn't. So evidently he doesn't think we're snobs. And at least 2 people don't think we're snobs versus the one who does. I think that it's so... Like, what's wrong in your life, man? I'm not like angry at you or anything. I feel kind of sad for you that you feel so defensive about such a offhand, off the cuff comment.
Maybe he loves the game to a point where anything derogatory, even as flippant and as throwaway as your comment was, he's going to get defensive over it. It's like, oh, how dare you be so? I like this game. Essence of a triggered fanboy, essentially, isn't it? It's it's just getting offended. I'm offended. I'm offended that you've.
Let me give you all a bit of wisdom. You may never have heard this before. It's quite insightful. But if someone doesn't like something that you like, or you don't like something that somebody else likes, move on. It does not change a fucking thing.
Yeah.
If I don't like League of Legends and you do, cool. Literally nothing in my life changes. Just go play it. I like lots of games that I'm sure you really don't like, and that's the way the cookie crumbles. We all need to be a little bit different to make the world go round. Just let it be, man. If you see someone who says I don't like this game, just move on with your day.
Yeah, that's it. Good advice there, Henry. Good advice. And with that, let's move on to the non-specifically triggered YouTube comments from this week. And on that same video, which was the gamer sues Eagle after paying her 22 grand to play League of Legends, Vagel Boy comments, and in quotes, getting your rocks off the old-fashioned way is illegal in most parts of China. So another one of your nuggets of advice on that video was just go and get your rocks off the old-fashioned way. Rather than pay 22 grand on a girl. Apparently, it's illegal in most parts of China. What? Like, how silly of us. Why? How did we not know that?
Just because it's illegal doesn't mean people aren't doing it. Doing drugs is illegal. True. Murdering people is illegal. That shit happens every single day.
Are you condoning it, Henry? Are you condoning all those things?
I'm actually very pro prostitution. I think that will help a lot of people get their fucking lives in. Oh, I mean, some people just need to die. Let's be honest. If you could take someone out of your life,
that was a flippant joke as well.
No
guys,
questions asked. Then I'm sure most of you would. Well, on the same video, I think this comment is pretty. It's kind of goes back on itself. It's from Nathaniel Miller and got 4 likes. How do you fail at being a simp? Lol. You fail at being a simp because you are a simp. You're already failing. Being a simp is a failure because you're not, actually wooing this girl. You're not actually romantically involved. It's pathetic. I'm sorry, whatever the guy's name was in the first story, the poor Chinese man. I'm sorry for you, but you're a fucking idiot. Okay?
Yeah.
You are being a failure.
On that same note, Mike Mosk comments, bruh, how have these guys never heard of mail order wives or hookers?
Yeah, that's what we were saying.
There you go.
Right, I've got one here, which was another sort of half contender for Triggered Fanboy, but I couldn't really be that bothered with it. It wasn't as fun as the other one anyway. This is from Dr. Deb Sutrada. So this is on the video about Scarlet Nexus, where it was just a bit of a chat. Very, very early impressions. It certainly wasn't a review, and I said that, so bear that in fucking mind. I'm pretty sure I threw it in the description or something as well. This person says, all those text correction notes in the video tells me that you guys half-assed not only the game, but the review itself. You really aren't fit to talk about this gem to talk about this gem and sell it so low. Okay, I added in a few. You can call them corrections. I'd call them updates because I'd played a little more since then. Because we talked about it in the podcast on the Thursday. That video I think came out on Friday, and I then played the game subsequently on Thursday night and played a bit more. And I'd made more progress, more mechanical unlocks as well. One of the points, for example, was I said you get this ability, but it just triggers automatically rather than being something you do on your own, which I feel like would be more strategic. But then there's a separate ability which you power up and activate yourself. So it's a different thing, which I didn't know at the time. So I think those updates help inform you. They're giving you more information, and rather than me misleading anyone who hasn't potentially played the game and sees, there's only this small skill tree, because I think the clip I threw up, there was like 3 paths. In the video I think I said 4, but there's actually like 5. So there's a lot more to it. And to say that we're selling the game so low, I have no idea where you got that from. I said the whole time I really like the game. Even the title is something like Scarlet Nexus is the Jedi/Cyberpunk JRPG you've been looking for, because it's cool. It's always satisfying to fling things at people with psychokinetic powers. I don't know, man. I think this is another case of someone who likes a game and heard something or interpreted something a little bit negative and has gone on the defensive. You claim to be a doctor. I would hope that you had a bit more self-control and self-restraint than that. But maybe you're not a doctor. Maybe you're just a liar.
Yeah, maybe you're lying about being a fucking doctor. That's true. The correct comment I'm seeing directly below that
was my next one.
In response to you saying, fortunately, thus far, there's not been an abundance of tits, which I think is really cringy in Scarlet Nexus. And his comment, the red banana, comments, beta!
In caps with an exclamation mark. But because of that, part of me actually thinks maybe it's like a joke. But yeah, I haven't been called a beta in a while, and you've got to love the classics. You don't
like tits, Henry, in games? You must be a beta male. What, you're not jacking off to anime titties in games? You're a beta male.
I think the word I actually used was boobies, because they're so fucking stupid when they fall over themselves to touch a 16-year-old.
You prefer real boobs to the anime ones in games? Such a beta. Such a beta.
Me. All right, I'm sorry, Alpha Giga Chad. You take your 9-inch cock and your cigar and you go fuck my girlfriend for me. How about that, buddy?
Wow, that went somewhere. Real fast. Okay, any more comments?
I've got nothing, but I could keep looking. But if you've got any.
No, I don't have any more. So yeah, again, I think that's a good place to leave it on.
Yeah, nice
Henry
short.
propositioning some alpha male on the internet with the service of his missus. Let's leave that at that and move on to the next segment, which is the bad dad joke of the week. Okay, Marcus Hicks with the bad joke this week. Teacher says, "Okay, kids. If A is for apple and B is for banana, then what is C for?" And the child responds, "An explosive, miss." Yeah. C4.
Yeah, I mean, I don't feel like there's that much of a joke there. It's just
no, it's not that good, to be honest. Marcus Hicks has been putting the effort in this week with a load of offerings. So I put some weed in the priest's incest jar. Now he's a high priest.
That's quite funny. And you definitely said incest jar instead of incense jar.
Yeah, sorry.
I thought incest that joke jar may have gone in a little bit of a different direction.
Freudian slip there. Incest jar. More on the nose than anything. Okay, no, these are Marcus Hicks specials here. Did you know Einstein never really existed? He was just a theoretical physicist.
That's quite funny.
That's all I've got for you, to be honest. Yeah, sorry, Henry. Sorry, everyone.
He's all right. He's all right.
That was
6, 7 out of 10.
But But we do appreciate all the submissions there on the Bad Dog Jokes channel. And that brings us to the end. Sorry, I had itchy foot there. That brings us to the end of this podcast. The podcast, which is exclusive 2 days early to the Patreon supporters over on patreon.com/Pretty Good Gaming. Get that right. So if you do want to support the podcast, get access to it 2 days early, as well as the audio download, as well as the access to the Discord Patreon only section, and you get to ask us questions for the podcast next week. Then join Patreon. It really helps us out. We struggle to keep the lights on and keep the bills paid, and with your help, we hopefully can do that. So I urge you, please. It does make a difference. If you're of a mind to support us, go and do that, please. We're begging you. You can join on YouTube as well, YouTube memberships. You get all the same rewards, access to the podcast early, and satisfaction of knowing that you're helping us pay the bills, because we can't do it without your help. So thank you very much to everyone who does support us. And on behalf of Henry and myself, won't see you next week. I was about to say we'll see you next week, but I'm away next week. FYI, I did say that at the start. But the week after, we will be back with podcast 111, and we will see you then. Until then, bye for now.